game.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Big John, and welcome to another episode. It's all in the game. Today, I'm going to talk about something that is relevant to almost every single person who has ever been involved in the criminal justice system, okay? And that is due process. Now, when I'm talking about due process, what I'm talking about is every step of the way, starting from when you get arrested up to and including going to trial. And what that means is being able to be confronted by your accuser, being able to see the evidence against you, and being able to present witnesses and evidence in your own defense. Now, the reason that I'm saying that this applies to almost every single criminal defendant is not because we've all been afforded our right to due process. It's because almost none of us have been afforded our right to due process. Now, what I mean by that is that very few criminal defendants in the American judicial system ever see trial. Almost every single criminal defendant ends up pleading guilty to some charge rather than taking their case to trial. The reason that this is such a bad thing is because basically by doing this, what we're doing is propping up this system that is more like a factory than it is criminal justice. It's more concerned with turnover and getting the highest number of cases through, which is propping up this huge system that is made up of the courts, the clerks, the judges and jury, the attorneys, the stenographers, the people who work in the labs. They have to do all the CSI work. Then you're talking about your correction officials at the jails, your correction officials at the prison, your transport officers. You're talking about all the people who do the canteen services, all the people who come in and cook the meals. You're talking about the people who run the phone companies. You're talking about the people who run the video visitation companies. You're talking about the private prison industries. This is this huge, huge industry that there are so many sectors that are dependent upon this high turnover and this number of people that are steadily going through this system. What that means is that the system as a whole is highly motivated to keeping things going the way they are. All right. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to explain to you how this kind of looks in practice. Now, if somebody gets arrested and they, get taken to jail, they're going to get arraigned. At their initial arraignment, they're going to plead not guilty. A week or so later, they're going to come back to their next appearance. They're going to, their lawyer's going to talk to the prosecuting attorney. They might go forward with the, prelim after that, which means that the prosecution has to present the judge with the most basic evidence against the defendant. If the judge thinks that there's enough evidence to go forward, they go forward. Okay, beyond that, then they'll have like a pretrial conference, and then they have to go to the jury selection, and they have to go to trial, which can take a couple days. Now you see, all of this takes a lot of time and a lot of money. What happens in most cases is that somebody gets arrested, and they go to jail, they get their initial arraignment, and then when they go to that initial, that initial hearing after the arraignment, the prosecuting attorney will often offer them, look, if you got charged with this charge, which is a felony, what we're going to do is offer you this lower charge, this misdemeanor. If you plead guilty, we'll drop the bigger charge. And almost, 99 out of 100 criminal defendants are going to take that offer because obviously it's, a better offer for them. But what they're doing is selling themselves short. All right. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you look at the way our jails in this country are filled up with people, a jail that has 400 people, half of those people, 60% of those people are probably waiting to go to trial or to plead guilty. All right. So what they'll do with those, 200, 250 people is they're going to bring in somewhere between 5 and 25 people at a time into the courtroom. And each of those people will get, 2 or 3 minutes in front of the judge. Say, I plead guilty. The judge is going to say, what did you do to make you guilty? They're going to explain their crime. The judge is going to accept their plea, and they're going to go sit back down. The next person's going to come up and do that. Now, if they can take care of 20, 25 people at once with a few minutes at a time, you can see how this is much more effective and much more efficient for the prosecution than having to spend days on preparing for trial. So if each one of these people in court, or each one of these people that are incarcerated that are waiting for their court date, said, look, I'm going to take this to trial, it would be gridlock. They'd have to let go, the majority of the inmates. They'd have to lower people's bonds, PR bond people, and let a ton of people go because it would just be gridlock. They could not sustain that. They could not do it. If they had to, bring everybody to trial, they might be able to see, maybe 15, 20 people a month, if that. Right now, they're doing that many people at one time, twice a day in every courtroom in America. So you see how they are depriving people of their right to due process. But think of it this way, okay? Someone who is being convicted of murder in this country, almost every single criminal defendant who has a murder charge is going to take it to trial, even if they know they did it. 75, 80% of people being charged with murder take it to trial. And they do that because it's their right. And they want the prosecution to bring the evidence against them and show them what they have. And not only that, the prosecution might have made a mistake because they're just as human as the defense is. And if they make a mistake, it's very likely that that charge could get tossed out. So they're exercising their right, under the Constitution to due process, to be confronted by their accuser and see that evidence against them. This is not something that, people should be punished for. This is something that people should be doing. They should be exercising their right. And if everybody started doing this, there's no way that they would continue to try to hit people with these hard charges. There's no way they would do that. They would have to change things up. What they'd have to do is stop arresting as many people. All right. So you can see how this system is incentivized to keep things going the way they're going. If everybody would take their case to trial, that would become impossible. All right. They would literally have to cut the number of arrests or the number of people they're taking to court, down by 80%. I mean, I don't know what the exact number would be, but it would be astronomical. All right. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being deprived of due process. It's a serious, serious issue in our country. I don't see it changing anytime soon unless everybody, that ever gets involved in the system becomes woke and all of a sudden starts, standing up and saying, look, I'm taking this to trial. All right. And in doing so, also, people that do that, what I'm telling you, if you get charged with something and they offer you a plea agreement at first, or if they don't, and you say, fine, I'm going to take it to trial, they're going to come back at you the closer you get to trial with a better plea agreement. You say, I'm still taking it to trial, they're going to offer you something better the closer you get. I promise you, I've seen it happen over and over and over. They will do it every single time. All right. Big John told you so. You guys stay safe. All right. If you guys like this content, please, like the video. Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me be able to make more videos. Lets me know that people are watching this. Also, please leave some comments down there. I read all the comments. If you guys have ideas about something you'd like to see a video on, let me know. And if you guys have criticism or thoughts about these videos that I'm making, let me know those too. I'm always open to hear them. I'm going to read all those comments and I really appreciate it. Take care, y'all. It's all in the game. Stay safe.